ideal villain in your video games shouldn't be a guy like you. But sometimes we meet villains that are just awesome. Surely they're bad and have some flaws, but we are also able to sympathize with them. Let's take a look at 10 bad guys in gaming who actually have a good heart. Did you recognize them already? Let's see if you were right. But before we start the video, we want to warn you that there's some spoilers ahead in this video. If you haven't played the Yakuza series yet, now is a great time to jump in. In Yakuza 0, you play as Kiryu and Akira is one of your best friends. Both of you are struggling and living the Yakuza life, while also helping each other and singing karaoke together. Yakuza 0 is a prequel to the first Yakuza game, which was remade as Yakuza Kiwami. In this remake, you get to see how Akira slowly turns into the bad guy.
Lena, sakeを。10年ぶりだ。お前とこうして飲むのも。ああ。面会にも行かなくて悪かった。
His story is spread over 2 games and brings lots of plot twists to the table. This makes him one of the most fleshed out villains in gaming.
親父、あとはきっちり。
This is Kerrigan. We've neutralized the Protoss, but there's a wave of Zerg advancing on this position. We need immediate evac.
Belay that order. We're moving out.
Sarah Kerrigan is one of the main villains in the StarCraft universe. She wasn't always bad, as Sarah started her military career as a ghost for the Terran Dominion. She was betrayed by her superior, captured by the Zerg. She ultimately would become the Queen of Blades and leader of the Zerg.
But you won't live to see it!
Please. Our petty conflicts mean nothing now.
We really like her despite all her killing and destroying of worlds. She ends up sacrificing her life to save the universe from destruction. So she was still human on the inside, still in love with Jim Raynor, and her humanity despite her transformation.
I feel content. Snake, commence the operation.
In one of the greatest chapters in the Metal Gear Solid series, the final boss is called the Boss. She's a mother and mentor to Naked Snake. But above all, she's the bad guy during the Snake Eater operation. She nuked a lab to clear the name of the United States, and they had to make sure the boss was killed by their own. That's where you as Naked Snake come in.
There's only room for one boss and one snake.
In the end, the boss fought for her country and died for it. She was a true patriot, and the teacher eventually sacrificed herself in favor of her student.
Everything she did for her country. She sacrificed her life and her honor for her native land. She was a real hero. She was a true patriot.
Congratulations. The test is now over. All Aperture technologies remain safely operational up to 4,000 degrees Kelvin. Rest assured that there is absolutely no chance of a dangerous equipment malfunction.
If everybody was mediocre and normal, life would be kind of boring. Eccentric people are fun and interesting, and so is GLaDOS. Yes, we forgive her for trying to kill us, and we're sorry for killing her. In Portal, she gives you all kinds of tests. Yes, you might die, and even though she says the cake is a lie, it's actually not.
Okay, listen. All right, new plan. Act natural. Nothing. Hello!
Oh, it's you.
You know her?
It's been a long time.
In Porthole 2, you learn that GLaDOS is actually the mind of Caroline. This was the assistant of big shot Cave Johnson. In the end, GLaDOS turned out to be helping Cell to escape the lab all this time. She's been training this lab rat to make her worthy of an escape and to get rid of Wheatley along the way. GLaDOS is not such a bad robot after all, and to be honest, we love her sarcasm.
This plate must not be calibrated to someone of your generousness. I'll add a few zeros to the maximum weight. You look great, by the way. Very healthy.
In the Legend of Zelda series, you always need to beat Ganon. In almost every single game, he is the dark force that threatens Hyrule. However, we never hear his side of the story. Did you know that his country lies in ruins? While Hyrule is prospering, Gerudo is dry and in need of food and water. That makes us feel kind of bad for Ganon and his people. Hyrule is not extending their hand to help Gerudo. It's almost like they've built a wall. We can't say we approve of his methods, but he just wants to help his people. If only the leaders of Hyrule and Ganon would sit down and talk.
This isn't your mission, Saren. What are you doing here?
The Council thought you could use some help on this one.
Saren from Mass Effect is a classic example of an antagonist who has admirable motivations and questionable methods. He thought what he was doing was the only way to keep organic life alive in the galaxy. His motivations are admirable, but his methods that included allying with the Reaper are not. You can even make him realize what he did was wrong.
I'm sorry. It is too late for me.
It's not over yet. You can still redeem yourself.
Convincing the final boss to kill himself in Mass Effect leads to one extremely sad moment. He might have redeemed himself by pulling the trigger, but we weren't prepared for the incredible feeling of guilt that followed.
Get a little picture right into the camera. There we are. Awesome.
The Far Cry series is full of interesting villains. This time around, we want to take a look at Pagan Min. He invites you for dinner and you end up in his house. Sure, he's a bit eccentric and extremely violent at times, but he means well.
Terrorists, right? Now, please, stay right here. Enjoy the crab rangoon. Don't move. I will be right back. Yuma,
during dinner, he leaves the room for a while and you have a chance to escape. If you don't, he will come back and even help you spread your mum's ashes, ending the game early. You are the cause of all the chaos that occurs in Far Cry 4 by starting a civil war. This guy is just trying to offer you a meal and a helping hand, but thanks to you, things get bloody pretty fast.
I say you have two choices. One, you could shoot me, boring, or you could sit down, enjoy some food, and you and I will go scatter your mother's ashes together.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to
it's all I have
relocate
left.
to one of
Do you think Dr. Breen from the Half-Life series is just a pawn of the Combine? He's more like a protector of humanity. You see, Breen knows human weaponry is useless against the Combine. By signing a treaty with them, he preserves his race and gains a lot of power. Now he needs to keep humanity under control and silence those who endanger the treaty with the Combine.
Well, if it isn't Gordon Freeman at last. What's this? I'll put it over there. You have my gratitude, Doctor.
The final chapter of this story has never been told, even though supposedly a script for Half-Life 2 Episode 3 exists that explains how Dr. Breen was just protecting us.
Hurry! Dad, hang on!
You fool!
Watch out, he's gonna...
No!
William Johnson. A pleasure. A good lad, if a bit earnest.
William Johnson is a Templar in Assassin's Creed 3 that conquered lands. It was his job to keep natives committed to the cause of the British Empire. He tried to arrange deals that would keep the natives safe, but Connor killed him. In his final words, Johnson explained how he was trying to protect the natives from the colonists. He predicted that they would become a serious threat to the natives in the years to come.
Have I not always been an advocate? Have I not always sought to protect you from harm?
And history has shown Johnson turned out to be right. Perhaps killing William Johnson wasn't the best thing to do. And perhaps he was kind of a good guy, showing that there's a big grey area between good and evil.
You speak of salvation, but you were killing them.
Aye, because they would not listen. And so, it seems, neither will you.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow?
Nobody wants to be enslaved, and certainly not Andrew Ryan. He saw his family fall victim to the Russian Revolution and decided to build his own underwater city called Rapture. Here people would live safely at the bottom of the sea, far away from wars. Sure, in the end his version of Atlantis was a bit messed up, but the intentions of Andrew Ryan were pure. He wants to get away from the chaos in the normal world and build his own utopia. A famous quote from BioShock is, "A man chooses, a slave obeys." And we can only praise Ryan for choosing not to be a slave.
A man chooses, a slave obeys.
Hardly any of the characters in this video can be considered good guys, but there's something good in all of them. In many occasions, it's just a matter of perspective. Have you ever admired a bad guy? Let us know and make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
The Crab Rangoon, right? It's... Fabulous.